Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our DNA, the podcast where three generations come together with no filter and talk about life, growth, and legacy. I'm Brandon, here with Philip and David, as always. And today we have a great guest who embodies creativity in every sense of the word, right? She's a singer, songwriter, event planner, uh, jeweler, right? You even said designer, seamstress, perfumer, even trains in Krav Maga, right? And so basically, she's walking creative. She's like literally a walking creative powerhouse from what I'm learning. So,
Oh.
and your mission, you said, is to inspire and motivate others to become the
Mm-hmm.
best version of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And when you speak that language, you're speaking our language. That's our DNA. So, Casey, welcome to our DNA. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course,
I'm excited.
absolutely. Well, let's dive in. Before we go in more and talk further about some of the things we already brought up. But
Mm-hmm.
with all your passions, I'm sure you must have faced plenty of hardships and you've gone through a lot to get to the creative space that you're at, right? So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your background, kind of what molded you, and maybe some setbacks and some things that set you up too to get to where
Hmm.
you're at.
That's funny that you say the word molded because I mean, I feel like I started doing music because I would get grounded in my room. And honestly, I was not a bad kid growing up. I was not. But like, I would legit go and punish myself, be like, Mom, I made you mad. Go in my room. And then I would just start writing, sketching, drawing, like just things, where it's just like I needed to like redirect the energy, like yes, I'm feeling this way, but I want to like release it in a positive way. And I guess that it comes from like how I was brought up. Like my family is amazing, my mom is a saint. um so I guess it's just that, and then just learning a lot of things about yourself through when you start writing, like when you start, because I started with haikus.
Okay.
And it was just little by little, and to me a haiku is like a chorus. So
Yeah.
like I converted that into a
Right.
chorus now with my music. But it's just like reading, because I have so many notebooks, so just like even reading back certain things because I put dates on them, and it's like, oh my god, I totally forgot that I felt this way, and it's happening right now, but it's just a little bit more evolved. So I guess the transmuting of energy, negative to positive, is what inspired me, because I don't want to be like a shitty person. Like I deal with things myself, and you can always go that route, but it's how you redirect it that I think what matters.
Hmm.
I think that goes along with your attitude determines your altitude, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the fact that you talked about redirecting and transmuting because that's really what growth is when you go through these things and you learn how to transmute that maybe negative energy and turn it into something positive.
Yeah.
Or even the fact that what you did even as a child is what we all should aim to do when you're bored or you don't know what to do with yourself or you're done scrolling on the internet. Do something to better yourself. Do something creative. Write something
Get a
down.
hobby.
Get a hobby. Try to do a haiku, right? And find ways to bring joy into your life and work on
Yeah.
yourself. So it's cool that you've been working on yourself pretty much since childhood, is what it sounds like, right?
Mm-hmm. I came to this
That's
world to
awesome.
learn and grow. So
So what inspired you to want to what talk to me about like the mission that you created to help people and help them be their best selves. When did that start for you or how did that come about for you?
mm, I guess is when I decided to help myself, because it's like I have always had that big, like those big dreams, and like I would tell my mom like, oh, I want to get my own city, I want to get my own farm, I want to like I
Okay.
want to be president,
That's
like.
dope.
And then my mom is like, well, fix yourself first. So I guess it's that. And also, wait, what was the question again? I forget.
Well, one, I love where you were going with that in general, but essentially what created this mission for you to want, like even the thought to want to help other people better themselves, because that
Mm,
in itself is it's something that if you have worked on yourself, I imagine you do want to help others do the same thing, right?
mm-hmm.
But kind of what transpired to get you to the point where that's something you spoke out loud, and wanted to include with your bio about who you are, right? Is that your mission is to help others create their best
Mm-hmm.
version of themselves.
I guess it starts with music, right? Because like when I would write my music, I would be healing myself, and then I think performing it, because I remember I performed for, it's called like La Academia. It's kind of like a get, what is that? Those shows where you show your talent and like people scout you or whatever.
Like a
Like
talent show?
get talent, yeah, like a
Yeah.
music.
Like
And dude,
American
I
Idol?
froze. I froze on stage. I saw my mom with the
Wow.
phone, and then she just went like, and I was,
Ooh.
and
Sorry,
it's
mama.
crazy because time slowed down. I did not know of myself. I was out of my body, did not know. And then after that, I was like, no, this cannot happen again. So I started putting myself in situations, and I'm shy. I know you don't believe that, but I'm a very shy person. But I talk to people that are of the same like interest. And I feel like I connect with genuine souls. I don't connect with just anyone. Like if I don't
Right.
like you, I don't like
They're
you.
not being real. They're not your people.
Yeah, so no. And then I guess it was that. And then starting my event planning, I just saw like how happy people would get, and like just like I don't know, like I created this energy. I brought all of these people together. It's so cool. And it's like
Right.
not a selfish thing, It's like you're giving back to the community, and I'm very about
Yeah.
community. So I guess it's just that, like seeing other people happy makes me so happy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it's good. And, bringing people together inspires you. So it's not
Mhm.
about anything. Like I was, listening to my own podcast today, and it's the guy's a mindset coach. And he talked about people who start businesses, for example, because of the money are not successful. They start business because they have a passion and a drive and like a mission to help others,
Yeah,
or a drive. That's where that success comes from, not the
cuz
idea
it's
of the money.
genuine.
Right. And you burn out if it's not for the right reasons. Well, Philip,
Mhm.
listen, Philip, you're the most seasoned one here.
Mhm.
What do you think about what we're saying here in that drive? And you know,
Well, you got to have the passion. Whatever you do, if you don't have the passion, you're not gonna see all the possibilities and go as far as you can go.
Mhm.
If you do it for money, uh, you make a little money, and then what is that? You know what I mean? You got to keep that passion there.
because Philip, like you made a lot of money, right? So it's like
Right.
you would think, was that your passion, or
No,
was
I
it coming
really
from?
enjoyed what I did. I've told people I've never worked a day in my life because when you do something you enjoy, you're not
Yeah,
working. You know, I
yeah,
never had a job. So and that's
it
what it
drives you,
is.
right?
Yeah, because when you're excited about getting out of bed, showing up,
Mhm.
that's living. People that have to get up
Mhm.
and say, "Oh, geez, I got to go there again." Oh, I mean, I just never wanted to be that person, man. I spent my whole life never wanting to wake up, not wanting to go to work.
And you attract that energy if you bring that energy too, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's awesome.
Mm.
Okay, so Casey, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
talking to you now about your event planning, helping others.
Mhm.
Where where do you see? Because how old are you now, Casey?
34.
34. Okay,
Mhm.
so at 34, what's driving you now? Like what maybe are you working on for yourself, Casey? Right? Because we're always growing, right? We're always working on
Mhm.
something. So And I love the story you shared about freezing up on stage, because if anyone's watching this and is frozen up on stage,
so bad.
Casey's back. Like, she's recovered.
Hey,
she's
go.
on RDNA, and like, you know, you can come back too. Like, one failure is not losing the war, right?
To me, it's a challenge. I'm like, gonna fucking
like,
me.
okay,
No.
I can do better, right? Like, and she froze. Mom put the phone down, like
so
that.
Bad.
But it's so fun to laugh at our failures, everyone.
Dude, and they were recording it, so like, I want to get that recording.
Yeah,
like
it's okay.
It was like that camera where it's like a professional camera on the fucking little thingy. Like, oh my god.
I don't know a musician, for example, or an actor, or anybody, or even me. I was a basketball player. I don't know anyone that looks back at their first album or their first movie or their first game and doesn't like cringe with looking at themselves. They're like, ooh, yeah, I just started. They already start making excuses and explaining themselves. So I love that you recovered through this process and that you grew. And a lot of what I hear you talking about is healing, right? Healing and growing. And, you know, I think that's where a lot of us come in and we connect right now, is that growth aspect. And through growth, you're healing, right?
Yeah.
So we have, you know, I'm 42, David's 26, Philip's at 70, but you in your 30s, like what do you feel like you're trying to grow through right now? Or what are some of your struggles that you maybe still are facing, if any?
Well, I think we're always facing everything, but I feel that it's like I feel like there's two. Like, one of them is our ingrained trauma. So like trauma from our childhood and stuff like that, which is not our choice, but it is a part of us. And then the other trauma based on like, after we start growing up, we put ourselves in these situations and then we have to learn from that. So, and I like to connect both because I feel like they're kind of like ingrained. Like, you're choosing this because you went through this, right? So it's like it has like a symmetry to it, but we have to choose to not be a shitty person.
Well, you also have to choose to look inside yourself, right? Like we've talked about.
That's
that
number
on
one.
The show. Yeah, like you have to be honest with yourself. Just like you don't like fake people, well, don't be fake with yourself, right? You have to look at yourself and like, man, am I making a pretty shitty decision? You know, I always say, is it good for me? Is it good for those around me? And is it good for like the community or the world? And if the answer is yes to all three of those things, and you kind of know it's maybe a good decision. But if it's only good for you and it's not good for your family and it's not good for the community, then maybe it's not the right choice, right? And it's kind of like things have to add up. But you can't do that unless you look inside yourself and are honest with yourself. If you're honest with yourself.
Really, you have to know yourself.
Which
and
is
we're
painful.
Always growing, changing. So
yeah. So all right. So speaking of which, we talked about one of the things that you mentioned that you wanted to bring to the group was, let's see here. Let me quote you exactly. You want advice on management, finishing one project at a time, instead of consuming the elephant in one bite kind of thing, right? So, and staying focused.
Yeah.
So, and what does the table have to say with that? Philip, David, what do you guys think?
I'd say one important word that I think all of you guys can agree: routine. If you don't have a routine, if you don't have something that's constant, it's not going to work. If you know, for example, as you said, I have all these other things I'm doing outside of work. I work from basically 8 to 4 every day. And then after that, I go to the gym. And then right after the gym, I go home, I eat, I take like 30 minutes to an hour if I need to relax. And then right after that, I'm working on my phone to message back anything for my event planning it out, calling people that I have to for booking shows. I'm pretty much booked in like 3 months in advance already right now. So that's all ready. And then on top of that, I need to force myself, because my passion at the end of the day is writing. So I give myself at least an hour a day at the end of my day, last hour, to write. And I have to either write, I have to edit, I have to do, even if I'm just so dead tired, like I have to watch a movie or a video that relates to the story I'm working on. for some kind of inspiration. If not, I feel like I wasted my day. So I need all four of those
I like
things to
that.
do it in order to actually stay focused and keep on the grind that I have been going on. So yeah, that's my
So
2
you're
cents.
you're very intentional with your time, right? In the sense of how you plan it and manage it. You know what you got to take care of and the things you really want to focus on, and you find a way to put some time and energy into that each day.
Yep.
On top of your health, right? Staying
Yeah.
active, working out, yoga, whatever
Mhm.
that may be, right? There's lots of ways you can be active and healthy beside, just obviously going to the gym. But I like your advice. I think
Mhm.
having a plan, right, is important when it comes to staying organized and staying focused. Because if you don't have a plan, it's like, since I had no plan, I could go ahead and start thinking about this thing because I
Mhm.
didn't really have a time frame on this other one. And
Yep.
I fault on that all the time. So we're all creative people
Hated.
here.
Yeah.
What about you, Philip? What do you suggest, obviously with your experience? Like, how is, you're a creative person. You said your family's like, you see it in your family, you know who you are, and your younger self was quick with ideas and decisions. But, how did you learn how to like narrow down that focus and kind of grow yourself in one way versus all over?
Yeah, because I'm just like KC. When you're young, you have so much ambition in your mind, and zeroing in on what really makes you happy is what you got to really figure out and prioritize it by what's at number one. You can do multiple things, but you got to prioritize the pecking order and not try to do too many things, because
Mm.
I've seen too many people that want to, they want to do this, then on Tuesday they want to do that. And that's when I was young, that's where I was. I'd wake up in the morning, I'd have a brilliant idea. And in my mind, I thought I could do it. But then when I got to be about 30 something, is when I narrowed the field down.
Mm.
You can't be everything. You got to, it's better to be great at one thing than be okay in a bunch of things,
Yeah.
That is so true.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's an anime, it's called Demon Slayer, and he's a
Yeah.
thunder breathing, and he only knows one form, but he mastered it. And his
Thanks,
brother
kid.
knows all the other ones, but he is not successful. He ends up becoming a demon. But if you master one and you're perfect at that one, like, I totally get that.
Well, it reminds me, and kind of like my advice on that focus is kind of more along with what Philip is saying, and also David, which is like when you narrow down your focus and your passion. And I love what you said, Philip, about what makes you happy, right? Like you lit up, Casey, when you talked about your planning and bringing people together and that joy. I also love that. I love to host. I love to have people over, even if it's simple something, right? Playing pickleball or just listening to music, but I love bringing people together and I love community. And that's partly where this is happening, right? Every week. So, but the biggest thing is you can't do everything and give your attention to everything. So if you spread yourself too thin, each thing you're trying to do is not going to grow to its fullest potential.
Mm-hmm.
So I was listening to the same mastermind guy earlier, and he was saying that he used to have a bunch of businesses that he was trying to run. But once he realized that he couldn't do them all, he literally made a decision to close down the other 4 businesses and focus on the one. That one has grown for him tremendously. And it was hard because it's like you want to do it all, right? But he's like, no, you got to close it down. And he made a good analogy. He said it's like if you have a turkey and you're supposed to bake it for 4 hours, but you have four turkeys and you're like, you know what? I'm going to bake all 4 at the same time for 4 hours. Well, now it's not going to cook the same, right? Those 4 turkeys are not going to bake correctly, even though you're putting it in at 400. They're each going to get about a quarter of the baking. So although you're doing 4 businesses at once, are they all cooking, right? And like Philip said, does it make you happy? Because finding joy in what you do makes it feel like you've never worked a day in your life. And Philip's 72, right? And the fact that
what?
73. Yeah. But
73.
you know, a guy told me, a Chinese guy told me at the Iron Horse in San Francisco, he said, "Do you know what being rich is?" And of course, I was like 22. I said, "Yeah, when you got a lot of money." He says, "No, rich is when you don't know if you're working or playing.
Mm,
If
I
you're
like that.
if you're just having a great time and then the money just comes from it, that's the greatest feeling in the world
Yeah.
because you're excited, you're passionate, and it really settled. I mean, I'm 73 and I still remember him saying it because he was successful. He owned a Coca-Cola distributorship, and I'm young and I wanted to be rich, so he says,
Right.
"No, you got to find something that you don't know if you're working or playing." I mean, I got up and every day was an excitement to me. I did the car business for 50 years, man. And, 53 years to be exact. Yeah. So I started at 20, but I got out of it and then I got back in it, trying to, because you try to want to do other things, because, and the one thing you cannot do is listen to other people. Don't let them
Yeah.
instill passion into you. That don't
They
work.
can't tell you what makes you happy.
No, no, no.
Hmm.
Doesn't work. No.
I always say, because this has happened to me multiple times. When I get an idea and I start talking about it without acting on it, it's not that I feel like the universe just steals it. Like I'll see on my phone, I'll be like, ah, that is my idea. So I stop talking about anything that I want to do. And then like just act on it, work on it, plan.
Yeah. I always tell, like, because that happens to me a lot about just certain things in general. And I'm like, oh, I was right, or I could have done this. And it's like, I always use that as still a win because it just means my intentions, my thoughts are winners, right? They're good.
Mm.
Like, even if I maybe didn't act on it, I still thought it. And that just means the next thought I have, like you said, act on it, do something about it, right? And it's okay to change direction, right? Like, I was happy doing what I do, and I realized I got stuck for a while and I felt really unhappy. Even though I love helping people do what I do, what I realized is I wasn't happy in the position I was in anymore. Meaning,
Mm.
I've grown to the point where maybe instead of writing music, for example, in music, I'm now helping other people write their music, right? And I'm helping them create their passion and teaching them how to do it. You go from being a player to a coach, or for example, and I realized I'm moving up to where coaching now brings me the joy, like playing once used to, right? Seeing other people be successful, helping them be their best version of themselves. That actually brings me more joy now. And it actually took me a while to realize that, right? Because my joy used to be coming from playing or being the person. So, as I was unhappy being the person, and I realized, wait a minute, because that's not where my joy is coming from anymore. And your joys will shift, and that's okay for you to shift with it. And being honest with yourself is where that comes, right? So, yeah. All right. Good talk, guys. So, let's see here. I always like to have a listener response and question that we could all talk about. So, let's see who we have today. And Noah, cut this out because I can't see where I put it. Here we go. All right, guys. This question is coming from Jessica in Phoenix. Jessica said, I love starting new things, but lose motivation halfway through. Okay. How can I tell when to push through or when it's okay to let something go? Okay. So let's ask that again. She says she starts things. She starts new things, loses motivation halfway through. So how can she tell when to push through that loss, I guess, or push through that point, or when to actually let something go?
Wow.
It's a good question.
That is a great question. I mean, how do you figure that out?
I think Philip was right when it comes to happiness.
Yes. When you find that joy, that should be everybody's goal to find that joy. A lot of people don't find that. I hate to say that. They don't find what's their thing.
If something's not making you happy, you could be doing something that doesn't make you happy in the sense of you have to work and make some money to pay your bills, whatever it may be, but you're happy to pay your bills. You're happy you have a job. You're happy, and you should find joy and thanks in a lot of things you do have, because if you are able to work and you have something that's paying your bills, there's a point where you can be happy. But the next thing is pursuing a passion or these ideas that you have. And it's like, whatever you should be pursuing, you could be trying for 6 months to get your passion off the ground and it doesn't get off the ground. How do you push through that, or how do you know if that's the right thing for you? And it goes back to how much you believe in what you're doing, and how much you got to see, is this something that's going to help other people? Is it something you believe is going to make a difference? And if it does, if you believe that with your heart, nothing can stop you from your goal. It just might take you longer to eat that elephant, right? You might have to take a little bite at a time. And most businesses really start taking off into their second, third year, fourth, fifth year. They're in a place you never imagined. So if you love what you're doing, you believe in it, and you believe it's good for other people, keep pushing through. Find new ways to get through it. But if you don't have that belief, Jessica, it's not going to happen. And that's maybe why something falls off after 3 to 6 months. And that's perfectly okay. It's actually smarter for you to let go of something than to hold on too tight. Because if it's not right for you, let it go. Make room for the next thing. Maybe just slow down a little bit before you have your next idea. Philip and I were talking, right? Take a second. It might sound good when you first say it, but the more you think about it, you have to see if it really brings you that joy. And if you believe in it enough to push through 6 months, you can make that decision pretty early before you even start the process.
I totally agree with that. And sometimes those situations kind of like, maybe that one wasn't for you, but it'll take you somewhere else, like it'll like migrate its way, like it'll connect with some other thing where to me, it's like sensations, right? So I'm attracted to this hobby because, I don't know, ceramics, because I like to, create things. But maybe I suck at ceramics. And then it took me to something else where it's like kind of it's like I do wet pregging for like carbon fiber also. So it's like it took me to just the creative side. So acceptance, I would say, is the word. Yeah. And knowing yourself.
And one thing can open another door. So it wasn't a failure just because it didn't work out, right? Which is what Casey's telling. And I love that, because you still got something out of it. You still showed yourself, you pushed through learning something for 6 months, but you were also strong enough to walk away from it and potentially get even a better experience out of it with the next door that opens. So yeah, don't ever feel like that decision you made was a bad thing. Just know that decision could lead you to the next good thing, right?
I have something to say to go off of that. I will say that, going back to the question of like, what's the difference between starting new things and pushing through or just letting it go? For me, I would say the best way to keep on track is, I'm sure you guys know about this book, Atomic Habits is a good book for reading. Basically, it tells you different little tricks to kind of change your mind and get more focused on the task and get things done. Ever since I read that book, I noticed that there's a lot more I could do to my day that can make sure that I get things like projects done or assignments done. For example, if I want to do more writing, I have my laptop always out somewhere close to me, somewhere where I can easily grab it, whether I'm in bed or I'm on my chair. I have it right there. And then I also have like a laptop stand that I can also put on my bed. So that way it's as convenient as possible and there's no excuse to not do it. If I want to go to the gym, I have my gym clothes in my backpack ready. I have it even on sometimes when I go to work. Like, it just depends on, the habit that I'm choosing. But at the end of the day, what's going to make you finish that project or continue and keep going with whatever creative idea or whatever idea you have is fulfillment. I think it goes beyond happiness, because don't get me wrong, you can feel happy at the end of the day, but sometimes projects are very hard and very rough and you're not very excited to do them, but once you're done, it's very fulfilling. Like, for example, when I throw my events, sometimes the process gets stressful. It gets annoying having to deal with people canceling right before a performance, or dealing with drama when it comes to like people, especially in the music industry, and there's always something going on. I get it. But at the end of the day, it's fulfilling, because at the end of the day, when I do put that concert together, when I do have that open mic and people show up and people say this is such a great thing you're doing, or have a good time, and I have a good time and I enjoy the performances, it's all so fulfilling at the end of the day, because I feel like I served my purpose in doing this, and all the stress was worth it at the end of the day.
I love that, because I think it goes with how do you literally answered a question that maybe a listener might be asking right now, which is, okay, Philip, Casey, Brandon, talking about happiness. Great. Well, how do you know if you're really happy doing something or not? And if you feel fulfilled at the end of it, if that gives you joy, like, yes, it may be hard work through the process. That's okay. Expect that part. You're not going to be just smiling through the whole thing, right? Yeah. But if you get fulfillment at the end, right? Do you have that peace that you feel, right? That you did the right thing, that it was good, that you brought a smile to people's faces. That fulfillment, man, you can't get that anywhere else. That tells you it's a good move. Keep doing it, even if it is a little hard, right? Because that fulfillment makes makes it all worth it through the day, and you ate that elephant. So, yeah, I think you guys all had good points. I appreciate all of us having this conversation today. Casey, thank you for coming on and sharing a little bit about yourself and your story, and your opinion, and bringing up some great conversation. Anything you want to tell our listeners and followers about you, Casey, and what's coming up next for Casey? Event planning that you want to focus on? Like, anything you want to plug? Here's your moment. Go for it.
I feel like I'm at a point right now where I want to support others in what they're doing and focus on my music right now. I have to finish my album, get some music, get some videos, get some content. I feel like I haven't been doing that, and I just want to have fun at this time. Like, I want to go support my friends and just motivate other people to keep doing what they're doing. Because the other day I went to perform at a creative collective, and one of the girls that was dressed like a demon, she was like, dude, like, your dog helped me so much. I was so anxious. And I was like, awesome. Like, I want to do that. That's what makes me happy right now. Great. And I just want to support others right now. So
well, I think that's where your event planning comes in, right? You bring that joy to people when you do it, right? Or you can bring joy to people in so many ways. And I love what the guy, make it your goal to bring joy to people every day somehow, right? Imagine how your day will be if that's your goal every day.
Whether you're 8 or 80, find your passion.
Just make sure whatever you do is fulfilling and you enjoy it.
Today's conversation, it reminds us creativity is a blessing, right? Every blessing has its burden, right? That's kind of how life works. They come together. But without focus, it can become noise, right? Like all these different ideas and all these different creativity. So like David reminded us many times, have that focus, write things down, plan things out, be honest with yourself, right, Casey? Our guest reminded us that discipline doesn't kill the creativity, right? You can still be creative and disciplined, and that gives us a home. So thank you for sharing your story with us, Casey, and sharing your DNA with us today. So thank you for being on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Sorry. And your passion, your lessons, and everything you shared with us is motivating and inspiring to us or myself. So thank you for sharing it with us. And next week, we'll have another guest, an incredible guest who will share their DNA with us and leave us that much more wiser and smarter. But guys, everyone, have a great day and even better tomorrow.